Good morning, y'all. Happy Thursday. It's Coach Flo from RocioFlores.com doing my daily live Bible reading. Today we're reading Today we're reading the book of Job, chapter 15. And that's all we're reading today. It's kind of a short, it's only 35, so that's pretty doable. Hello. And we're just going to go through it. So remember, we've been going through Job spoke, then his friend spoke, then Job speaks, and his friend speaks, and Job speaks, and his friend speaks. So this is the second series of speeches, and it is Eliphaz. So this is, I don't remember, is it the first or the second guy who spoke? Gotta look back. It was the first guy who spoke. So we're going to see what he says. And then tomorrow, that's what we'll concentrate on, what Job replies for the week. Alright? Okay, so chapter 15. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, "Does a wise man answer with empty counsel or fill himself with the haughty wind? Should he argue with useless talk or with the words that serve no good purpose? But you even undermine the fear of God and hinder meditation before him. Your iniquity teaches you what to say, and you choose the language of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, not I. Your own lips testify against you. Were you the first person ever born, or were you brought forth before the hills? Do you listen in on the counsel of God, or have a monopoly on wisdom? What do you know that we don't?" So, again, coming back to you ain't that great, Job. Okay. What do you understand that it's not clear to us? Sorry guys, my voice keeps going away. It's like you get better for a day, and then go back to getting bad for another day, and it just keeps coming back and forth. It's like, nah. Alright. What do you understand that is not clear to us? Both the gray-haired and the elderly with us, men older than your father, are God's consolations not enough for you? Even the words that deal gently with you. Why has your heart misled you, and why do your eyes flash as you turn your anger against God and allow such words to leave your mouth? So they're seeing that his complaints and what he's saying is going against God. What is man that he should be pure, or one born of woman that he should be righteous? If God puts no trust in his holy ones, and heavens are not pure in his... Sorry, I'm struggling with reading it. Yes, I should try some of that. I don't know if I have honey right now. But that's what I did right now, is I kind of took, because I have one of these little things, and I just put it and I gargled it with salt, because that's what I used to do when I was a kid, and it usually works really well. I just didn't have enough time to do it. I should do some tea, and I have some honey tea, something like that, so I'll do that. If somebody's watching this later, somebody suggested on the screen that I should do a honey cinnamon lemon water. I do have that tea. I'll try that a little bit later. Instead of coffee, because I think the milk and coffee is supposed to be bad for your, Okay, where was I? Okay, I'm going to repeat that because I feel like I read it really funky. What is man that he should be pure, or one born of woman that he should be righteous? If God puts no trust in his holy ones, and the heavens are not pure in his sight, how much less one who is revolting and corrupt, who drinks injustice like water? That's pretty harsh to hear from your friends, to hear, that you're revolting and corrupt. Sounds pretty harsh. Look, listen to me, and I will inform you. I will describe what I have seen, and what was declared by wise men, and what was not suppressed by their ancestors. The land was given to them alone, when no foreigner passed among them. A wicked man writhes in pain all his days. Only a few years are reserved for the ruthless. Dreadful sounds fill his ears. When he is at peace, a robber attacks him. Okay, so I have this whole section sectioned off in the color orange, because that's how I was sectioning off things that are that sound bad. So anything that was condemnation or warning or punishment, or anything that sounds like it's really bad. And this whole section right here, from here to the end, is basically saying what happens to bad people. Again, this is coming from the perspective of Eliphaz, who has his own belief system about how the world works and how good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. If bad things are happening to you, it means you're a bad person. Okay? That's not to say that a person may not read this and be like, yeah, that should happen to bad people. Regardless of whether or not it's a human. And, you know, we tend to think of people as good or bad instead of, like, they're humans. Everyone's good and bad. So, yeah. Okay, let me continue. He doesn't believe he will return from darkness. He is destined for the sword. He wanders about for food, saying, where is it? He knows that day of darkness is at hand. Trouble and distress terrify him, overwhelming him like a king prepared for battle, for he has stretched out his hand against God and has arrogantly opposed the Almighty. He rushes headlong at him with his thick, studded shield. Though his face is covered with fat and his waistline bulges with it, he will dwell in ruined cities, in abandoned houses, destined to become piles of rubble. He will no longer be rich. His wealth will not endure. His possessions will not increase in the land. He will not escape from the darkness. Flames will wither his shoots, and by the breath of God's mouth he will depart. Let him not put trust in worthless things, being led astray, for what he gets in exchange will prove worthless. It will be accomplished before his time, and his branch will not flourish. He will be like a vine that drops its unripe grapes, for like an olive tree that sheds its blossoms. For the company of the godless will have no children, and fire will consume the tents of those who offer bribes. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil. Their womb prepares deception. That's pretty freaking harsh. Regardless of whether or not you're from the camp of people who believe that bad people should have bad things happen to them, he's saying, like, there are, like, bad. Like, bad things are gonna happen to them. Which is, let me just say that if somebody says, hey, I have a part to read to you, go read this part, keep in mind that if you're not reading the context of the entirety of the story, you're going to feel pretty bad. Let me read what he says. Khalil said, like not being down and not living with the vision of trust and love, because that is God within. It talks about the struggle within and living in hate. Yeah, I like that. Some of the parts it says, like, he will, like he says, right, he's going to have fat, but he will still dwell in ruined cities. Like, he will be thinking, like, trouble and distress will terrify him. He doesn't believe he will return from darkness. So he's describing a person who is so downtrodden that their thoughts are bad, their life is bad, no matter whether, obviously if they're fat, that means they have food. Even if that's the case, they still feel like, where's food? There's no satisfaction, there's no happiness, there's no hope, there's nothing greater. Now, that sounds like a horrible place to be in. Nobody wants to be in that. And then for somebody to tell you, like, you're coming to your friend for advice or to support because you're struggling, for them to turn it around and be like, you're struggling because you don't believe in God and because you must have done something bad and this is what's going to happen to you. It's not very supportive. It's not very hopeful. It's not very helpful. And while it focuses a lot on what they do, it doesn't seem to focus that much on turning back to God and, like, having a relationship with God. So I would see why, like, as Job, I would be completely, like, losing all hope, right? But then we're going to see tomorrow how Job responds and what Job ends up saying back to his friends. So tomorrow we're going to read 16 and 17. Yeah, so not too much. It's about 22 plus 8 plus 16, so it's not that much reading. But, yeah. Not fun reading today. Interesting, I guess. It, like, sounds cool. But, I mean, something sounds cool and they're, like, sad, scary. Khalil said, dichotomy of life. There's good and bad, right? And good and bad things happen to us. And suffering and pain is a reality of our existence. But maybe I can ask you, Khalil, would you say this to your friends if they were struggling? I don't know if you've been reading along with me, but we've been seeing this, like, back and forth of, like, Job is seeking support from his friends, and then they're telling him that basically he's bad. So as we see the rest of the story continue, we're going to see not only how Job continues to respond, but now God will respond to Job and to the friends. I want to see how he actually responds to what they're saying to him and the wisdom that they're giving him. Oh, I can't breathe, guys. Hello. So, okay, I'm going to finish out today's video, and tomorrow I'll get on around the same time, around 9. That does happen in life and business. from personal experience, I know what it's like to, like, you seek support, and then, yeah, instead of getting support, you get a whole lot of shame, and just, you end up with no hope. So, yeah, it happens in life. Alright, I think that's all for today. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.